never apart. Wave of the sea, dissolve in the sea. Wave of the sea, dissolve in the sea. Oh, I am the bubble, make me the sea. I am the bubble, make me the sea. So do thou, my Lord, so do thou, my Lord, thou and I never apart, thou and I never apart. Wave of the sea, dissolve in the sea. Wave of the sea, dissolve in the sea. Oh, I am the bubble, make me the sea. I am the bubble, make me the sea. Make me the sea, oh, make me the sea. Make me the sea, oh, make me the sea. Wave of the sea, dissolve in the sea. Wave of the sea, dissolve in the sea. Oh, I am the bubble, make me the sea. I am the bubble, make me the sea. Good afternoon. It is now 12 noon on the west coast of the United States of America, and we are here on Monday, December 21st. For the Northern Hemisphere, it is the shortest day of the year. I'm told that that took place, however this works, I don't know, at 2 in the morning, early this morning. So nowhere to go but up in terms of sunlight. So let's make that our affirmation. Today's Whispers from Eternity is number 196. Reinforce thou all our blended prayers. Interesting, blended has a new meaning nowadays, but we might not go there right now. Okay. The streamlets of our prayers rush out and conjoin with the well springs of our hearts, uniting in a single mighty flow. Our broad, deep flowing rivers of prayer move swiftly toward thy oceanic presence, breaking all narrow embankments of indifference, dissolving every eddy and large whirlpool of worldly desire, flowing freely over the protruding rocks of bad habits and straightening the once winding ways of delusion. Our great river of devotion crosses sands of human oblivion, uncounted lives lost to eternity, to present memory, and inundates every trace of past trials and painful past experiences. Yet even now thy shores seem far away. Doggedly our flood moves on toward thy sea of shining vastness. Pour thou unceasingly the raindrops of thy mercy, swelling the flood of our prayers that they reach at last triumphantly thine ever waiting shores. So do thou, my Lord, thou and I never apart, wave of the sea. I am the bubble, make me the sea. I like to talk about the great paradoxes of life. Yesterday at our Christmas Sunday service, I talked about how life is very personal, how God comes to us in personal form, in the form of the Satguru, the Savior, the Avatar, such as Jesus Christ, whose birth we celebrate this time of year. Life is very personal. And yet, we look out, perhaps we see a few other people, hundreds of people. With today's communications, we can see millions of people. We like to travel. We see places because we have calendars and clocks. We can think back and determine that this earth is 4 point something billion years old. We don't even know how long humans have inhabited this particular planet. It's been a long time. We know that there are because we like to count everything, 7 or 8 billion people on this planet. We can't help, unless we're practically a rock, to note that however personal life is for us, we're not alone in it. It's very personal for everybody. Reason alone tells us, common sense encourages us to relate meaningfully and positively to the world around us. The golden rule. Okay. So we have this paradox. It's very personal to us, and yet somehow it is also impersonal. The mighty flow of our prayers, which is to say our aspirations, however unrefined or refined. Unrefined would be just merely sensory personal desires, let's say, or ego affirmation, wanting to be seen and heard and loved and admired, whatever it might be. Or it can be, I want to help other people. I want to know the creator of all this. I want to know what's out there past the stars. I want to know what's behind this very physical form of mine. I was talking to a friend yesterday after Sunday service, and he remarked that some of the things I said in my talk yesterday somehow triggered in him his love for, admiration, and so forth for the discoveries of modern science, whether in astrophysics or quantum physics, meaning that science itself is eradicating the barriers of form, the barriers that separate us from other people. Every night in our dreams, we transcend the limitations of this physical form and this ego. All sorts of things can happen in our dreams. And we just sort of watch like a movie, or sometimes we get engaged in our dreams. It just kind of depends. Life is not what it seems. And then those who, as we observe, whether in ourselves or others, who pursue the sensory satisfactions and the egoic affirmations of the world, to the extent we or others that we observe do, we find that it's somewhat dissatisfying. It's simply not enough. We're caught on the horns of a great dilemma because we're stuck in this body and so forth on the one hand, but our mind can race free. Our reason even can concoct all sorts of things. Think of the artists who create, well, I'm thinking of movies, a painting just sort of sits there and so forth. Dance has movement, but these movies can go back to Roman times or out into the future. I mean, our human capacity mimics that of the creator, whether in our dream state or those who have the karma to create movies. I'm watching this series called The Chosen, a recreation of the life of Jesus. I don't want to get into that particularly, but it's just amazing what we can do. There are as if no limits to our creativity. And so we cannot help but wonder where all this moves like that great river in this prayer demand. We are like a river. I mean, the river flows within our body in terms of our fluids and blood and so forth. Our breath is like the sea coming in, going out, like the wind in the trees. I mean, there are so many things, even about our body. Our ears are like shells, shaped like the seashells. And um, life is not what it seems. But what do we do about it? Well, there is something we do about it. We be still. And then we can know more about what life is about. Our stillness, our attempts to meditate, we had an all-day Christmas meditation on Saturday, and I would love to have had hundreds of people attend that. Well, 30, 40, I don't know how many participated actually. It was online, so you can see the statistics, whatever those mean. But how many people, even among devotees, even among those of us on the path of meditation, not just Yogananda and self-realization, but Buddhist, all these things, how many people, how much do we meditate in terms of just clockwork, since we're so tied to clocks? And beyond the clock, There's the depth of stillness, the devotion to feel beyond this physical form, which is, it's nothing. 70, 80, 90 years, most of which are pretty boring, some of which are very painful, emotionally or physically. I mean, it's a rum go, as somebody once said. We want to know, we want to feel, we want to connect. And yet I have to go outside and stack the wood for my wood stove after this thing. I mean, we're just so stuck with having to eat and dress and do our laundry. And it's just really boring, kind of. Unless you have to be present to win, I always say. It's not like those gas station games that you don't have to be present to win. No, you have to be present to win. You know, there's a Zen saying, I really like this one. Um, I'm not a Zen Buddhist, and they all seem sort of dour to me. The real ones are very joyful, but the not real ones are pretty dour. But I love this saying: before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. As Jesus said, two are in the fields, one is taken, one is left behind. What's the difference? Consciousness, feeling, attitude, awareness. This is the mighty river that flows towards the great sea of consciousness that Yogananda is talking about in these prayer demands. In our imagination, you see, well, I've talked about imagination versus stillness, so I'm not going to talk about it right now. But in our mind's eye, we can expand toward infinity, even if it's just our imagination. That alone makes it true. Unfortunately, everything we can think of can be true, and is true at least to that extent, but it can be objectively true. So watch out what you wish for, right? Okay, watch out what you think. In what slums is your mind roaming right now? You see, we are not what we seem. Life is not what it seems. This is the great paradox. Let the mighty river of your consciousness flow to the great ocean of consciousness. Even as we chop wood and carry water, let our hearts burst the dam of the constriction of this human form and find the glowing golden Christ in all creation. Okay, we've got a new year coming up. You should be thinking about the new year and how you're going to burst the mortal frame of limitations. Okay, kids, now I'm going to sign off, but I need a few seconds so my final words can get out to where you are. So, peace and joy. Okay.